Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sarpy County Board of Doesn't sound very loud. Can you make it louder?
Can you make it louder?
Test, test.
There you go.
Yeah,
Well, that
you're
was
unmuted.
loud, but hello?
Good.
It's not loud at all.
Yeah, it was good.
It is? You guys
Yeah,
hear
I
me
can hear
good? Okay. Maybe it's just me.
It's these speakers.
Welcome to the Sarpy County Board of Equalization meeting. It's Tuesday, May 10th, 3:01 p.m. Copy of the Nebraska Open Meeting Rules are on the north wall. In attendance, we have all 5 commissioners, our county administrator, and our register of deeds and county clerk. We also have our county treasurer present, Trace Jones. If you would, silence your cell phones, and let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, and under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you mention Dan Pittman's county assessor?
Oh. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Before I get going here, I missed that the county assessor, I didn't even see you, Dan, so Dan Pittman, the county assessor, is also present. We have 2 items on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Klug. Discussion. Please vote.
Commissioner Klug?
Oops. Lost my box. Yes, I'm in there.
Okay, hold on, let me just throw it in quick. Okay, A's 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, on the regular agenda, we have 1 item, tax corrections, 16,987 through 997. Dan Pittman.
Good afternoon. There's 8 tax corrections on today's agenda and the result of letters from the Nebraska Department of Revenue ordering corrections to the amount of taxes owed under Nebraska homestead exemption. For year 2019, there's 6 corrections which resulted in additional taxes owed. For 2021, there's 2 that resulted in corrections that reduced taxes. And then there's 3 confessions of judgment before the Clerk. One's a reduction in taxes for 2021 and 2 are increases for 2018.
Questions for Dan? Motion.
To approve.
Second.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Klug. Discussion. Please vote.
A's 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, all agenda items having been addressed as published, the Board of Equalization is adjourned.
Just a minute here. Okay,
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Sarpy County Board of Commissioners meeting. It's Tuesday, May 10th, 2022 at 3:04 p.m. The Nebraska open meeting rules are on the north wall of the boardroom. All 5 commissioners are present today, along with our county administrator and our county clerk and register of deeds. Commissioners and administrator announcements and comments. Commissioner Mixon.
Vote early and vote once.
No comment.
No comment, thank you.
None, thanks.
Nothing, sir.
Okay. I was thinking about saying something, but
You go ahead.
nah, I think I'll just,
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
thank you.
Second.
motion by Warren and a second by Commissioner Mixon on the consent agenda and the bailout Kelly plan, so please vote.
A's 5, nays none, motion carries.
All right, on the regular agenda, 5.1 is Resolution 117, which is interlocal agreement for SID 23 Westmont for CCTV, video evidence of groundwater inflow and infiltration. Scott Bovick, Deputy County Administrator.
Thanks, Commissioner. What you have on the screen is a map showing the county's sanitary sewer system that's north of the ridge line and how it connects into the Omaha Interceptor Sewer and then eventually flows to the Papillion Creek or Bellevue wastewater treatment plant. I know you've seen a lot of sewer maps recently, and that's an important part of what we do. as a county to help facilitate growth. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about a partnership that we're working with SID 23 Westmont on to help them improve their system because their system does have some negative impacts on the rest of our system. And today, really what we're talking about is an interlocal agreement just to partner with them on videotaping their lines so that they can see the condition of their system, and we can start to, again, partner with them on a path towards improving their system to benefit ours. And so this is a map of their sanitary sewer system. And, you know, one thing about the Westmont development, it's been there for a very, very long time. And, you know, I actually worked with our GIS department last week and asked them to pull for me a spreadsheet showing the assessed value of these properties. In, you know, the average assessed value is about $175,000. So when we think about housing developments across the county, we're fortunate to see really healthy new housing developments, but this is one that's probably more affordable to our residents. And so, you know, a little bit of a different circumstance here. Want to help them manage and improve their system. So their system is at the bottom of our system, and so water that comes into their sewage that goes into their system feeds into ours and uses capacity of our lines further downstream. And doing some demonstration monitoring, flow monitoring in the last couple years, we've noticed that they have a significant amount of infiltration and inflow that's occurring in their system. Infiltration is when tree limbs or, you know, grow into that to the line, and then inflow is when there's maybe a storm sewer pipe that's inappropriately attached into there. And so, anyway, just kind of an explanation there. So we did meet with the SID board. Mark Johnson's an attorney that represents them. They have TD squared, TD2 as their engineer, and have had and we do all the billing and everything for this SID. And so we've had some good discussions with the SID about the need for them to take some ownership and start moving towards improving their system. And we didn't want to just mandate that on them because that would be a significant cost for these folks. We wanted to help partner with them and you know, kind of facilitate their growth. The proposal in front of you for the interlocal is, I think, a total cost of about $33,000. We'd split that 50-50. We have available funds in our Papillion Creek Sanitary Sewer Basin Fund. All these residents pay flow charges to the county that goes into that fund, and that's what we would use to you know, do the videoing and see what kind of shape their conditions in. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
So are we just going to do the streets in the subdivision only? Is that what we're going to
Yeah.
review? And so if like on infiltration with tree roots, do they just, is the fix just to cut the tree root, or is it more in depth than that?
Chris Kane from HDR is here, and he can get more specific, but there's lots of different options. There's liners. You can do a liner throughout the whole system, and there's probably a lifespan on that. If we find that there's some serious degradation of a pipe, you can just kind of open that area up and fix it. So I think there's lots of options to repair, but until we kind of know where those spots are and what kind of issues we have, we aren't really into kind of a plan yet.
And what's the diameter on these pipes size?
8 inches on them,
So
yeah.
they're very
And
small then.
yeah, I think that's pretty standard though for residential. And I will say, so
I mean, just looking at that picture, it gives you a vision of something that's bigger, but, so it's 8 inches standard.
yeah.
Okay.
And I will say that one thing that we did put in this budget, in our Papillion Creek sanitary sewer budget, is to possibly video our entire system. And we think that's important because we've started this conversation about maybe divesting from, you know, sanitary sewer operations, but it's really hard to make decisions on, is it an asset, is it a liability, until you really have an understanding of the condition of it. And so we do have that budgeted. Whether we have the time and ability to get that conducted this year or not remains to be seen, but we did want to start this process with SID 23 so they could start charting a course for improvements in their system.
Can you put that map back up? No, the street map. So does the sanitation lines run right down the middle of the streets?
So if you can see, that is a lift station.
Right.
So some of these lines run to that, and then they're pumped over, and then but everything flows down to here. Their placement within the generally center of the street. So when you're driving down the street and you see a manhole, there's sanitary sewer underneath.
So will this be able to could some of the infiltration actually come from the properties that are on either side of the street? For instance, they get tree roots or something in their line, and then it feeds into the larger system, or
Through their private connections, yeah, that's a possibility too. So.
will we be able to identify any issues like that, or no?
Chris, can you handle that one?
Probably not.
Okay, probably not.
Yeah, the CCTV is going to be just of the 8-inch main lines. So you're going to be able to see where those taps are located, but identifying whether that's coming from a tree root on the service line or not, we're not going to be able to see. So you're going to see a inflow, a large amount of water that's going to come in through a crack or a break in the line.
So this is like a little remote control camera?
Right, it's on a camera. Yep, the camera on a tether system goes back to a truck. They'll monitor as they go, and then they rate each of the pipes. So they'll identify and stop on certain locations, identify where the break is, and all that data will come to us, and we'll do a secondary review on it.
And it'll take how long about to do all those?
They said, they could start it as soon as next week. It's probably a 3-week process by the time we get all of it. It's about 18,000 linear feet, so
Okay.
I'll move fairly quickly through it.
It's fascinating.
Do these breaks start at the top or some in the bottom even of that pipe?
It varies. Generally, they're going to come in from the top.
Top
You're gonna-
side.
Yeah, if you're going to see a tree root, or you're going to get, breakage. Maybe there was a, improper compaction of the pipe when it was installed, which allows, weight to push on that. So you're going to see that mainly in the top of the pipe, the top half.
But if the rest of it's not broken like underneath, then the water just comes in and then flows.
Right. Yep.
So they flush the lines first, or?
Right, so the cost for this includes a light cleaning with a little bit of heavy cleaning. So if there are some tree roots, they can go in there and zip those out. They've got a tool on there that they can push and jet those lines, clean them. So it'll clean the line as well as televise it.
Kind of cool.
Oh, it's fascinating if you've never watched it.
We could go on and on. No, and one thing, the reason why we know that it's inflow and infiltration, and looking at the demonstration flow metering that we did, it was pretty steady. And then on April 6th, I can remember that date of 2021, all of a sudden a huge amount of flow. Well, there was a rain event that night. And so, it could be as simple as we're going to TV it, find that it's little issues throughout the system. You line the system, and, that might be an affordable solution. So anyway.
Just one last question. Are there gutters on the streets out there?
Yeah, I think the whole system's curb and gutter.
Okay, so
Yep.
that could contribute as well, right, obviously?
It probably wouldn't contribute much. So the infiltration is going to be the taps or the breaks in the line, where the inflow is going to be from maybe somebody tapped it with an area inlet or a drain inlet. They weren't supposed to. So we may be able to find those as well and get those disconnected.
And, thank you.
Scott, do we know, so it's approximately 33,000. Do we have that? Who's going to be doing the videoing?
We got 3 proposals, and I think that was the cheapest one, 33,000.
Okay. And that's a set amount, not that's a set.
Yeah, I think it's a
amount.
linear foot based estimate or cost.
And the resolution's just only for the videoing, no
Right,
additional.
just for the videoing at this point, and any future improvements or any partnership beyond that would be something that would have to come back to the county board for your consideration.
Okay, motion, please.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Mixon. Any other questions? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you. Okay, last item on the agenda today is a discussion and a legislative update. Tim Gay, our county lobbyist from Catalyst.
Thank you.
Tim Gay with Catalyst Public Affairs. Caitlin wasn't feeling well today, so she begged off on it. But anyway, first of all, congratulations to everyone who wasn't on the ballot and didn't have any opposition. It was a pretty skim ballot. It's like in and out in 2 seconds. But anyway, that's a good sign. You're doing a good job. But anyway, this the end of session report is basically this year we did a lot of ARPA money. Filibustering was more than common, it seemed like, but anyway, it was pretty common. But at a short session, it really stood out. People took forever on bills, to kill bills mainly. So a lot of bills didn't happen until the very end. It was a mad rush to throw a bunch of different bills into one bill, so it got very confusing. My suggestion would be for us, and I won't spend a lot of time today, I'll keep it up here, but is to sit down and get together and go over what got all thrown in these bills, and then kind of how that's going to affect you, because there were some major bills that went on. But as you know, they spent a lot of time on the ARPA money. That has included the lake that could possibly be here in Sarpy County, undisclosed location, but we kind of know where that is. So that's going on quite a bit. Thanks to everybody who came down and testified. Really appreciate it. I know Commissioner Kelly and Commissioner Burmeister come down, and Commissioner Mixon we all put a lot of time into it. But thank you very much. I know that seems kind of, it gets old, I get it, but it's important. And Jim, I know Commissioner Warren comes down and calls and do all the things we need to get done. So, but with that, one of the bills we're following, LB 263CA, was Senator Blood's constitutional amendment to kind of limit unfunded and underfunded mandates. I would applaud her for doing that. It pretty much wasn't going to go anywhere this year anyway, probably with political situation going on, her running for governor and all that, but we do appreciate her efforts. She did a great job trying to get that done. It died out of lack of time. I don't know if any of you were up at about 11:30 at night that night when they passed it over and adjourned for the night. Anyway, she was very upset about that. I don't think she got a fair timing on that, so it kind of, but we do appreciate her trying to do that. Our other bill, Sarah Sanders' bill, I know LB 1080, a lot of time went into that. That was a veterans bill, just disability for homestead exemption. I have a good feeling we can get that done next year. There was politics involved in that. It got attached on something late, and again, it didn't get a hearing for a lot of different reasons, or didn't have enough time, so it just ran out of time. However, that bill was the best written bill of the bunch, I got to say. There's a lot of time that went into it, and Senator, everybody, thank you. But Commissioner Burmeister, she was there when other senators said, well, why don't we just use this one? It's best written. So they did, but we just didn't get around to it. Our ideas on that one next year, it could be LB 1, 2, 3, whatever. It's ready to go. So nothing will change. We could hand it in. There's no fiscal note attached to it that could slow it down. So hopefully we can get that in and out. It's a long session and get that done quickly next year. Part of the reason it didn't get done, it wasn't named as a priority. And if you didn't have a priority this year, you weren't getting anything done. So we're very confident about that next year. And then several of the other ones, I'm not going to go through all of these, but we dodged a bullet on LB 921. That was the Lathrop bill that would have housed all the prisoners in your jail, your building. That did not happen. That whole bill, it did pass. That's one we definitely need to sit down, because I can't tell you right now everything that got piled into that bill, but we were glad that did not get into the bill. So there's some reimbursement and different things you probably want to check into, and kind of make sure we're all on the same page. And all these bills, even though they pass them, the implementation, as you know, is hard, challenging, whatever the word may be. So we'll sit down and say, hey, here's our problems. Go back and fix it next year. Senator Lathrop won't be back, but other people, there's a lot of talent left that's on that committee, but there's still some good people coming back. I'm sure this issue is not done. So new governor, whoever that may be, will have to deal with that. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to two different, and if there's any questions, go ahead and throw them out there. This one was,
I just have a question about the the procedures for LR 263CA. I mean, why not just come back the next day and finish your work?
Well, I don't think they wanted to finish that, quite honestly.
Well, yeah,
'cause
no,
that's a budget
I understand that, but
limitation for them.
technically, could they have come back?
Well, the next day she did come back and she asked that same question that she, I don't know, there's politics and politics, I guess, and that's what it was. They're not going to go for it. I thought, you guys came down. That was good. That was nice to have you in the room. Kind of the senators knew you're there watching that get done, but on the second round, it would have faced a lot more opposition on select file because the questions that they were already asking, and is a throwaway vote on general file, and then on select file it would have been getting a little more serious, and they need answers to how would we look at it, what's an unfunded mandate, what's an underfunded mandate,
and
so on and so forth.
Some of those questions were probably
Legit.
fair, I would say, but I've got to be honest here. What was really clear to me from sitting down there in the rotunda is the absolute lack of knowledge about how county governments work. And, just based on some of the questions, it was very clear to me that people don't really understand, how county governments provide services.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate. Maybe we can get a couple county commissioners to run for legislature and help out with that problem someday. But
I think there's only 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
And I counted up in the legislature this year, I think, who had any experience in elected office, and it was 14 people. So you go right straight to being state senator. There's a lot to learn really quick. So
yeah.
it's
Well, I just
unfortunate, but
wondered-
that's the way it is, maybe.
Because John Cannon from NACO, he was giving us updates, and he sent us an update that night, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
And that was just kind of the first thought that came to my head is, well, why don't you come back and finish your work tomorrow? But I get it; it's probably not going to be successful. But
I don't think so. So some of the different things that are probably good opportunities for you, the virtual conferencing is, maybe it's not so much here in Sarpy County where you can meet pretty regularly, but some of the virtual conferencing, we're going to have to get more details exactly how that would work. I don't know, Deb, Trey, but there's an opportunity there as long as the public knows and this and that, and you're not going to vote on anything. But that's just an extension of the COVID opportunities where we learned how to do that. Postcard bill, we need to meet on it. I'm not exactly sure that they fixed it. We kind of got our hands slapped on that because we found some problems with it. Went in and started complaining and quickly was asked, hey, leave it alone. This is the best fix we're going to get. So we did back off, and that was with John Cannon. So I think it'd be good to have John kind of help walk everyone through that, how they think they fixed that. Interim studies, I'm not going to go through every one of these. We did different interim studies. You can look through there. There's about 20 of them that thought would be, there's about 200 really, but about 20 that we caught our eye. And I'll just kind of scroll through there. We broke them down into different categories on what it would do. But anyway, next year, what's important is there's going to be a lot of new leadership in the committee chairs. There's going to be a lot of new senators because I think 12 were term limited out for sure. Several of those were chairman of important committees. 3 may be leaving. I know Senator Flood is running for Congress. Senator Hilders is on the ballot today for Attorney General with no Democrat opposition. Senator Paul's passed away. I'm probably missing someone there. So there's some appointments that will probably take place with this governor before. The one on Senator Paul's, he passed away. It's a unique situation that the governor will appoint someone to fill out the rest of 2022, but you only need 2,000 signatures, registered voters, to get on the ballot. So I assume there will be several names on the general election ballot in that district out in Millard. So that's kind of something to, who knows how that will turn out. That was a close race, I think, so that could be interesting how that turns out. Other things, the ARPA funds, just because they gave them in huge chunks of money. We're going to keep an eye on if it's being spent and how. If it's not spent, I can see people coming back and talking, hey, we have some excess ARPA funds. That's just my prediction, but come back and how that all got spent or did not get spent. So we'll watch that. The budget and the tax bill I'm not going to get into, but you've all watched that. The good thing, I thought there wasn't as much county and city and school bashing this year as usual of property taxes, and I assume we're going to see some interesting things with the valuations of the homes going through the roof right now. However you guys handle that will be some explaining to do, because as you said, Commissioner Kelly, sometimes they talk about the tax structure and valuations part, but they don't really understand all of it. So that would be nice if we could all kind of do some education with people over the summer and explain what the county is doing, why you're doing it, and how you made those decisions. You don't have to justify yourself to them, of course, but it probably wouldn't hurt to go out and talk to them, because I think it's going to be a real issue with at least my valuation and all of everyone else's. From what I hear, the housing market is still on fire, so how are you going to handle that? I don't know, but other than that, like I say, we'll set something up at your convenience. Who would you, Commissioner, we'll go with you, Don, and kind of get a date, June or July. That'd be fine.
great.
And then we'd bring myself, Melissa, and Caitlin down to sit down and kind of go over all that. So there are other people always working on these issues, and I know we pester Dan and Scott a lot too, so thank you guys for putting up with us. But any other questions on, or something I left out?
No, a comment, though. You had mentioned the new state senators and the change, and Chairman Kelly mentioned that the state senators, a lot of them are just really don't understand the functionality or how county government works. Is there any way, I know we've tried in the past that coffee and donut breakfast or whatever, but is there any other way that we can, with the senators involved here, somehow that we can get with them, or part of the board or some of the board, and with your group, and maybe highlight some of these things?
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I think where we could improve on our end would be, and I know we're going to sit down and say, what's the process? Here's the process to support a bill, oppose a bill, or whatever. And sometimes that's hard to do because you got to wait till all the bills are in. You got to read them and all that. I think the best way to do that, Commissioner, is we need to meet with them on certain issues that we feel is important. So if we meet in June or July, say these are the 5 major things that we need them to understand. We start with our own senators here, but just because they're a Sarpy County senator doesn't mean they're always going to agree with us. Maybe we should do a better job of reaching out to, I know you've done that, both of you, with Senator Brewer, and have friendships with other senators, and you have too with the NACO committee you're on. I mean, we can travel. I always, beggars can't be choosers. I got to get an appointment with those senators at their convenience, whether that's a breakfast in Wayne, Nebraska, or whatever it may be. Now, you probably don't have to do that. We could figure something out when they're going to be in Lincoln, and we could do a better job doing that, I think. But we just need to stick to the story, and here's what we're doing. Because I'm kind of with you when we all come in, Douglas, Sarpy, and Lancaster County. That's great when we want to put everyone together because we got a lot of votes. But we all had separate bills going this year, and I know next year we'll be having separate. We have things in common, but sometimes we don't. So.
And Tim, it's not just about bills or some things we would want to see corrected or fixed, or it would be just the operation, a high level. Here's the operation of the county. Here's where we get our money. Here's how it works. That type, because if they don't even have that basic knowledge when they're in, and of course we watch and you have senators that like to be the champion of, I introduced 60 bills, and then you have other ones that don't introduce many bills, but are looking for good bills, which is also good. But when you have 1,000 bills being introduced each year, and a lot of them don't have a clue I'll back that up. A lot of them just don't have enough information, and here's the unintended consequence, and this gets back to LB, or the unfunded mandates and all that. It's just a matter of giving them some basics on here's the structure and how county government works, so that some of the bills they introduce won't be detrimental.
Yeah, no, I know when you talk about thousands, yeah, there's thousands, but as we narrow it down, that's what I'm
Right.
saying. Can we talk about 5 or 7 issues, probably that, like the budget process or whatever, but even that, I mean, what you do is very, very complicated. It's not like super easy. You could walk through juvenile services program or how to run a jail, and that's where we are kind of unique. I mean, you're big. You can get 2 subdivisions bigger than, towns and throughout the state. So sometimes I don't think in their head they get that. I know way back, maybe there was a tour that the Chamber of Commerce did, I think. I think they rented a bus back in the day, and they kind of said, oh, here's Sarpy County, we're growing and all that. I think we should talk to John Cannon and others, what they want to do. And I think John's in the same boat, and he's looking for new ideas. So maybe that's a good one to talk to him to say, hey, can we get you, not during the legislative session, first of all. Right. So, because they're so busy,
Right,
they
that
just
won't
don't
work.
care.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we could do a ballpark thing or something, but you got to kind of, I don't know. But good point. Point taken. We'll work on it, and then we'll get those meetings set up.
Well, thanks for all your work down there.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I mean, you obviously with your experiences down there, and you're well known, and you really helped carry a lot of
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
mail for us down there, and we did appreciate that a lot.
Well, thanks.
I thought we had a pretty good year overall.
Yeah. Sometimes
some
it's things that
swings,
don't happen
some
to you.
misses, some doubles, maybe a triple.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the key is to hit and steady hits is to do the spade work in the summer when people aren't so distracted. So I'll get with you and we'll figure something
Yeah,
out.
absolutely.
Plan to do that.
Yeah.
And it's great to talk to the Sarpy delegation because I hadn't even met Senator Day until I went to Lincoln. So we could probably do a better job right here close to home. But I think there's some other strategic relationships that we need to develop down there. There's some folks down there that it was pretty obvious to me are
Yeah.
really respected and seem to be out in front on leadership on a variety of issues. So
Yeah. I mean, you were listening to as much as we could. It's hard to listen to every little thing going on when you're in the lobby area because it's so loud. But you did hear good things about counties.
Yeah.
But saying it and then doing something completely different on your vote doesn't do as much good. So, but I think there's a great start on that 263CA. And like I say, the thing of caution is going to be, what'd you do with all this valuation increase? And that's going to be for every public entity probably, that's collecting property taxes. But as far as the property tax discussion and lids and all those things, I didn't hear anything this year on that part of it. And
Yeah.
probably because of the ARPA money, you're rolling in money. You don't talk about that, but anyway, thank you very much. I
Thank you, Tim.
appreciate that.
Thanks, Tim.
Yep, have a good one.
okay, all agenda items have been addressed as published, and the Board of Commissioners is adjourned.
Don, I need signatures from you today.